I wasn't afraid, at least not yet. Curiosity filled me instead. Where was I going? What was happening to me? As I moved, shapes began to form in the distance. Figures, indistinct at first, but growing clearer with each passing moment. They weren't human, not exactly, but they radiated warmth, peace, and an overwhelming sense of presence. My heart pounded, though I had no physical body to feel it. These beings weren't threatening, but they weren't familiar either. They hovered in the space around me, silent yet watchful, as if waiting for something. Then suddenly the golden glow intensified, and I was drawn toward it. It wasn't fire, nor was it blinding. It was light, pure and radiant, filling every inch of my awareness. In that moment, I understood. I was crossing over. As I stepped or floated toward the radiant light, a profound calm settled over me. It wasn't just brightness. It was warmth, comfort, and something deeper than I could explain. Every fear, every uncertainty I had ever known melted away in its presence. I felt completely exposed, as if every thought, every action, every hidden part of my soul was laid bare. And yet, I wasn't afraid. I was known. Then I saw him. He stood in the center of the light, not as a figure of fire or judgment, but as something greater, something beyond human understanding. His presence was gentle, yet powerful, like the quiet strength of a mountain unmoved by storms. I don't know how I knew, but I felt it deep in my spirit. This was the Creator, the source of everything. Words failed me. I wanted to speak, to ask questions, to beg for answers, but all I could do was stand there, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of who he was. He didn't need to say anything. His very existence spoke volumes. And then he did speak. Not with sound, but with meaning, with truth that resonated in my very core. Gina, you have lived a good life. But goodness alone does not open the gates of heaven. The words struck me like a thunderclap. I had spent my whole life believing that kindness, decency, and morality were enough. That if I wasn't hurting anyone, if I gave back where I could, if I was generally a good person, then surely that would earn me a place in eternity. But now, standing before him, I realized how flawed that belief had been. Being good wasn't the same as being saved. His words echoed in my mind, reverberating through every part of me. Goodness alone does not open the gates of heaven. At first, I tried to argue with them, to defend myself. I had always done my best. I had never intentionally hurt anyone. I had given to charity, volunteered at the local food pantry, and tried to live a decent, upright life. Wasn't that enough? But as I stood there, fully aware of every thought, every choice, every moment of my life playing out before me, I realized the truth. It wasn't about how good I had been. It was about the relationship I had lacked. I had never truly sought him. I had never surrendered my heart to him, never accepted the grace that he had already offered long before I even existed. I had relied on my own efforts, convinced that my goodness would be enough to earn my way into his kingdom. And now, standing before him, I saw how wrong I had been. A deep sorrow welled up inside me, more painful than anything I had ever known. Not because he was angry, but because he was love. Because he had been reaching for me my entire life, and I had never truly reached back. I had lived as if he was just a distant force, a benevolent observer, rather than the living God who had created me with purpose and longing. Tears streamed down my face, though I had no body to contain them. I dropped to my knees, if that was even possible here, and cried out, pleading for mercy. Please, I whispered, my voice breaking. Please give me another chance. In that moment of desperation, as I wept before him, the sorrow that gripped my heart was met with something unexpected, mercy. It wrapped around me like a warm embrace, not erasing the truth of my failure, but lifting the weight of condemnation from my soul. He didn't turn away. He didn't reject me. Instead, he looked at me with eyes full of compassion, as if he had been waiting for me to finally understand. You are not beyond redemption, he said, his voice carrying both gentleness and authority. There is still time for you to return. Hope surged within me, fragile yet undeniable. I hadn't been cast away forever. I had been given a second chance. Not because I deserved it, but because of his boundless grace. I didn't know how or why he chose to spare me, but I knew in that instant that I would never take this gift for granted. Then, without warning, I was moving again, this time not toward the light, but away from it. The presence of God, the peace that had surrounded me, began to fade, replaced by a sharp pull, as if I were being drawn back into something tangible. The world around me blurred, the golden glow dimmed, and the next thing I knew, I was gasping for breath.